Hey guys, it's Nyjah. So I'm titling this video, one second, okay. I'm titling this video, Proof You Don't Trust Your Intuition. So I want to preface this video by saying, in all of my videos, I am trying to speak from experience, and so I'm never trying to come off as like condescending or you're not doing this but I'm living so perfect and righteously. Like, that is just not the case, okay? But so here's the download. Proof you're not trusting your intuition. When you constantly feel the need to probe other people for what you should do in your personal life circumstances and your personal life choices, it is because you do not trust yourself and you do not trust your intuition. You do not trust your ability to make cognitive decisions for yourself. For example, I'll give you many examples. You are seeing a guy, you know you're probably not gonna date him, long term, but you kind of just don't want to let him down, so you just, keep it going, right? And then you talk to your friends constantly every time you see them. I kind of like him, but I don't know. Or how do you think I should tell him that I just want to be friends? Or how do you think we should do, how do you, right? Because you don't trust your intuition, you don't trust your inner guidance, you don't trust what your guides and higher self have told you is the truth, right? So instead of acting on the information that your internal compass has given you, you want to ask all your friends, your mom, your cousin, your sister, what you think you should do about the situation that your higher self has already told you is not going to work out. Another example, you hate your job and you're ready to quit. And instead of just saying, okay, well, I trust myself, I trust my intuition, and you're right, I don't want to be here anymore, so let me quit. You call up your mom, your best friend, your sister, your cousin. What do you think I should do? How do you think I should tell them? What do you think? What, right? When your intuition's already told you this is not for you, and you can stay here and be miserable if you want to, or you can find another way. But instead of trusting that, you value the opinions of other people more than you value the connection that you have with your higher self and with your intuition. The more you utilize your intuition, the more you utilize the communication, the tether, the connection you have with higher self and your intuition, the stronger it gets. But if you always feel the need to ask external sources what you should do, you are relying less and less on your intuition and on the higher self. And so the actions that you will take are not going to be in alignment with the highest possible timeline, because you're getting to the highest possible timeline through listening to your intuition, through listening to higher self. But instead, when we listen to our friends, our family, our coworkers, whoever, we are doing what they would do in their personal situation, which no longer leads you on your higher timeline. This puts you on a divergent timeline that is more in alignment with what they would do, right? And so saying all this to say, we have to stop. And I'm like, I do this all the time, right? Like, sometimes I'll feel an emotion within myself and I will find the nearest person I can find to talk to about it, right? Like if I'm having a melancholy day, and I'm not saying, now you have to hear me when I say this, I'm not saying that when you feel sad, when you feel down, when you genuinely need help or advice from other people, that you shouldn't reach out and ask for help. I'm not saying that, okay? You have to know when is the appropriate time to ask for help. If your inner guidance has already told you what to do, but you don't trust it and you don't trust yourself, so you look without yourself, you look externally for the answer, for validation, you are not relying on the higher self. You are not relying on your intuition. So like I said, I used to do this all the time. I was putting it in the past and saying used to do this because I caught this about myself. There was something I was just about to do. I was taking my dog on a walk this morning, and in my head I was thinking about this situation that keeps pestering me in my head, that I know my higher self has already given me instructions on what to do and how to handle it. And in my head I'm like, well, maybe I should call my mom and talk to her about it. maybe I should call my friend and talk to her about it, right? Like maybe they'll give me some good insight. And it's like, no, I heard my higher self say, why? Like, are you not listening? Are you not listening, right? Like, do you not care what the higher self has to say? Do you not care what the intuition has to say? Because also, when you take the advice of other people and it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to work out, you might feel a little bit resentful to them. You might be like, well, you told me to do this. Well, you told me to say that. And it's like, well, you're in control of your vessel. So, right? And so going back to the story, yeah, I found myself doing it this morning. Like, maybe I should call somebody and talk to them about it. And my intuition was like, why? Are you dumb? Like, not, right? Like, intuition's not mean or anything like that. But in my head, my ego intuition voice is like, are you dumb? We've already told you what to do. So are you going to call them up to tell them what we told you to do so they can talk you out of it, or to tell you to do it a different way? Right? It's like when your intuition says, go on that trip, go on that vacation, right? And it feels right to you. But then you open your mouth and tell somebody, you know what, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And they're like, nah, I don't think you should do that. And then you don't do it because they said that you shouldn't do it because of their own limitations, limiting beliefs, or projection, whatever the reason, right? So you have to trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your inner guidance. Start getting quiet and listening to yourself. Ask yourself questions. Constantly ask yourself questions. If there's any and everything in your life that is like, what should I do? How should I do it? Like, just start playing this game with yourself and with the universe, with the higher self, where you're constantly checking in, checking in, checking in. Higher self, what do you think I should eat today? Intuition, what should I eat today? Intuition, what should I do today? Higher self, what should I do today? You know, like, I think this will help to put you on the highest possible timeline because you're checking in with yourself and your inner compass. Again, I'm not saying it's never okay to ask people what you think that you should do, but here's another example, and this really used to tick me off. I had this girlfriend who was in this really crappy relationship. We're not really friends anymore, but maybe in the future we will be. I don't know. But I think the reason why our friendship didn't work out was because of this. So I had this friend, and she was in I'm calling it a toxic relationship based on what she told me about it, okay? She was always calling me saying, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. Oh, he's married. Oh, he has kids. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Oh, he, you know, is this and that and this and that. And to add insult to injury, constantly watching tarot videos about it and saying, oh, the channeler said this, the channeler said that, the tarot reader said this, the tarot reading said that. And I'm just on the phone listening to all of this. And in my head, I'm like, your intuition is telling you he's not the one, 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 not the one. And instead of listening to your intuition, you want to call me and complain about all the evidence you've accumulated about why he's not the one. It's like, we do this all the time. You know, like when you get in an argument with your best friend and you're like, I'm gonna call somebody and tell them about it, right? You're just transferring the energy. You're transferring the toxicity. Instead of letting it sit within yourself and transmuting it within yourself, you need to spread it, spread it, spread it. And let me tell you why. That is an energy. I don't want to call it a demonic energy or a demonic presence or a demonic spirit, but it is a spirit nonetheless. When something, like when you're get in an argument with your friend and you're like, I'm gonna call somebody and tell them about it. Let me tell you what just happened. There was a spirit exchange, an energetic exchange, and also a spirit exchange between you and that person, right? So maybe that person was aggravated, you weren't really aggravated, but then after interacting with them, that spirit jumped onto you and now you're aggravated, and then you call somebody and then that spirit jumps off you and into the other person because they don't want to hear about your bull crap. They could care less, right? Or some people like the drama, right? Because they're addicted and attached to those spirits, right? So you got in the argument with them, that spirit jumped on you, and then you're on the phone, I'm gonna call somebody and tell them about it. And then that spirit comes from you to the person that you call, and then the spirit's on them, and then something bad happens in their day, and then the spirit jumps on the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. This is what spiritual warfare looks like, okay? So I'm saying this so that you can be aware. Did I finish the story about my girlfriend? She just always used to call me telling me about the toxic things happening in her relationship, and she knew she wasn't supposed to be in it, But instead of doing something about it, I think it felt better to complain about it. And we are all mirrors of each other. So I believe I was experiencing that with her, because there was a time when I would do this. I knew I was in a toxic relationship. I knew that things with this person wasn't going to last forever. But instead of listening to my intuition and doing something about it, I thought I was doing something about it by calling my friends and complaining about how terrible this guy is, instead of just leaving. Right? We do this all the time because we don't trust ourselves, we don't trust our intuition, and sometimes it's easier to complain and to bullshit than it is to just do something about it. Okay? So practice this. Practice when you feel a heavy emotion, sitting with it and not feeling the need to tell someone about it. Practice having a question within yourself that you need resolved, and instead of calling the first person who will answer their phone to talk to them about it, just sit with it. Have a conversation with yourself about it. Have a conversation with your angels, guides, and helpers about it. The answers are already within you. The reason why we probe other people is because we want external validation. Like, I'm doing the right thing, right? I should say this, right? I should act this way, right? I should do this, right? Because you don't trust yourself. You become like robotic, like mechanical. Like, you don't trust what is coming through you. So you have to probe other people for what they would do. Then you're no longer acting in integrity and acting as yourself. You're acting as the other person. You're not even being yourself anymore, right? Another example, okay, going back to that, you know what, I don't think this guy is the right one, but I don't know what to do, right? And so you call your friend and you're like, what do you think I should do? And your friend is like, I think you should, I don't know, do something ridiculous, like just something ridiculous. Like, I think you should, I don't know, go on a date with him, run up the tab, and then tell him at the end of the day it's not gonna work. Or I think you should, you know, just stick around and see if you feel differently. I think you should, whatever, fill in the blank, right? I think you should see other people and still hang out with him and see if you feel different, right? Like, just telling you to do all these things that in your heart, maybe you just need to have a conversation with them and say, you know what, I just don't think this is right. You know, but I would love to be friends, right? That's what you would do. But then you ask all these other people what they would do, and instead of it giving you clarity, it just makes you more confused. Okay? So I hope this video makes sense. It is about following and trusting your intuition. It is about when you receive the inner guidance to act on it, okay? And to stop bringing other people into your drama. I'm saying this to myself too, because I do it all the time, right? Stop bringing other people into your drama. No, your friend doesn't want to hear about how so-and-so talked crazy to you today. No, your mom doesn't want to hear about how your boss rolled their eyes at you today and how you were going to snap on them. No, you know, like, no, nobody cares. We don't want that toxicity. Keep it to yourself and transmute it. Put something positive out into the world, right? And if you genuinely are confused and you genuinely do need someone's guidance, after you have done the work within yourself and asked yourself, then it's okay. But don't transfer these spirits to people, okay? Long story short, don't transfer these spirits to people. Because that's how it happens. You're angry, then you transfer the spirit to someone else. Someone else is angry, they transfer the spirit to you, then you transfer it to somebody else. Like, just stop. And it's not even just about being angry. It also could be the spirit of confusion. You feel confused, you talk to somebody else about it, now that spirit of confusion's on them. Our physical vessels have the capability to transmute the energy. The confusion can end with us. The fear can end with us. The anger and frustration can end with us if we transmute it and stop putting it out, spewing it out, pushing it out. Okay? So this video was proof that you don't trust your intuition. And now hopefully you will begin to exercise that muscle that is your intuition and stop asking everybody what you should do in your personal life and start asking your higher self, your angels, guides, and helpers, and your intuition what you should do in your life. Okay? I love you guys.